Hi. Welcome to my channel where I plan to share my journey into turning a small funded account into a portfolio that makes tens of thousands of US dollars. This channel is mainly for journaling my journey as I try to turn a small, 5K funded account into multiple accounts from multiple prop firms. I trade ICT concepts and I have been learning ICT concepts for over 2 years now, and I have bought accounts before, passed them, made some money. But I've also lost funded accounts, so I am not an expert in this. I am just a student of the game, and I am looking to journal my journey with these videos, so expect videos almost every day showing my trades, wins and losses, along with the balance of my account. So let's jump into the prop firm I chose to go with for this journey. This is Funding Pips, and I bought the cheapest funded account, which is this 5K account for $29 US. The leverage here is 1 to 100 with a maximum drawdown of 6% and a daily drawdown of 3%. And these may seem small, but they are not a problem for the way I trade. I will risk at maximum 1%, but for the first trade I will risk 0.5%. If this trade is a success, then I'll jump to 1% risk, but if it's a loss, then I'll continue with 0.5% risk. And of course this is a 2-phase account, so I'll have to pass both phases before I can be funded and start making money. Now let's have a look at the account. So as you can see, I bought this account on the 17th of June, so it's a few days old now because I am recording this on the 22nd of June. This is a 5K account and has not been traded yet. As you can see, it says no data available. Now let's move on to the charts. I primarily trade the Euro USD or the Pound Sterling to US dollar. I prefer Forex because of the relative stability with a decent volatility. I just avoid markets that are too volatile. I just don't like very big movements because entries tend to be hard to find, especially when you use relatively small stop losses. So here in the Euro USD we have had a recent high taken on the daily chart, and from here the market went into a daily fair value gap, which was something I was waiting for, and now that the market has had a clean closure of this gap, I expect it to move high to some of the recent highs, but also potentially to some of the old highs if we look at the weekly chart, so that we can mark one of these highs. Now that we have our high, my prediction is that the market will move higher in the coming week. Looking at the hourly chart, we can see the fair value gap from the daily chart, but also the market hit the hourly fair value gap before showing bullish intent. As you can see, it's already taking some for the recent highs in the hourly chart, and I expect it to not take this low, and especially to not go below these 2 bearish candles that I am marking. I expect the movement to look something like this. Okay, sorry, that's bad. Something like this. Well, please bear with me on this one. So something like this, where it will take the highs that were created in the previous week and eventually take the daily high and potentially going for the old high that we marked early in the weekly chart. Now moving on to the Pound Sterling to US dollar in the daily chart, actually the weekly chart. You can see the old high that I think the market might be going for. Now I expect the market to just creep up to this high, and if you look at the weekly chart, the market already went down to this fair value gap, and my prediction is that the market will just move up to that high like this, and it might still come back to this fair value gap before heading to that high. And in the daily chart you can see the mark for the weekly fair value gap, and the market has been slowly moving up, then took a nosedive to the fair value gap, and I expect it to now move up like this. Just creep up or maybe rally up to the high that I marked in the weekly chart. Now in the hourly chart, as you can see, the market went down nicely into the fair value gap and only covered half the gap, then had some very bullish signaling move, and if we look closely in the 15-minute chart we might see some entry opportunities. So on Thursday the market took the Asia low before moving up to take a higher low, leaving a fair value gap that it returned to before slowly but surely creeping up to these relatively equal highs. And in the following day the market came back to what seems like a fair value gap. Let's look at it in the hourly chart. Yes, that's the gap, and it came back to it. So now what I expect is that the market will then start moving up to take these recent highs like that. And let's mark these highs that I will target as potential take profit levels. It's this high from this very same day, then that Asia high that has not been taken yet, then this high which is quite close to that other main high. Now I expect the market to just move in this direction, and obviously the market will not move straight up, but I expect something like this over the next days, where I can potentially get 1 or 2 entries on the way up until it hopefully eventually take the highest of the highs. And that is all for this video. I will come back next time, probably tomorrow, with an update on the outlook and possibly with a trade and results. I will also show you my trading journal, which I created in Excel, and that's what I'll use to journal my wins and losses, hopefully more wins than losses. Thank you for watching.